Hello everybody. In this video today I'm gonna be talking about one nice thing that I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do it, and I finally was able to do it, so I thought it's nice to share it with you. Sometimes you would have some set of data or some like what you have here. This is the teams in the Premier League, and you want to set like a set of matches for them or games for them, and you want to make the choice of the teams that are going to play the games random. So you have here 20 teams and you want to get 10 games, each game with two teams chosen randomly, and you want to make sure that there is no repetition, so you wouldn't have the same team playing 2 or 3 games. And this is kind of thing that took me some time to figure out how to do it, and I thought it's interesting to share with you. So the way I was able to do it is by using some functions, and I'm gonna discuss them briefly before we go ahead and apply them to our case. So the functions are I think you will be familiar with the first two, which is rand. Rand, it doesn't need any argument, just rand, and it produces a random number between 0 and 1, and it changes automatically as you do any operation. So if I write 1 here, it's gonna change. If I delete this one, it's gonna change. Press enter, it's gonna change. So it's gonna be a random thing. There is one other function which is if you don't need a random number between 0 and 1, if you want it between 0 and 100, 0 and 1000, whatever, so you can use the rand between. And this rand between, you put the two limits, 0 and 1000 for instance, and that's what you're gonna get. So it's giving you a random number, and as you see, it changes continuously between the two values that you set. And let's say I have this set of numbers here, and you know that, or you'd expect that these numbers are not arranged ascendingly or descendingly because they're random numbers. And let's say I just want to take these numbers, paste them as values so they do not change while we're doing the following step. So if you want to get the maximum number, you can easily use the max function of these. I will delete these to prevent confusion. Oops. So you have, this is the maximum number, which is the 970. If you want the minimum number, you would choose the min function, and it's going to give you the minimum. So the minimum is 9 and the maximum is 970. But what if you want to get the second biggest number? And it's kind of difficult to do here because you see the numbers are not arranged, so you cannot tell which is the maximum or the second maximum or the second minimum, especially if the numbers are more than that. I have only 19 numbers here. If you have 100,000 numbers, it's gonna be almost impossible for you to do this. You can think of sorting them ascendingly or descendingly, and in this case you can tell which is the second and which is the third and so on. But in some cases, like our case today, it's not gonna be possible to do that while you are doing your calculations. So the solution is to use it was a very pleasant piece of information to me to know that this function exists, which is the large function. The large function, it tells you which of this array is the kth largest, which is the k, which is the order, the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. So if I say 2, so it's gonna give me the second largest number, which is 903. And if you choose 3, it's gonna give you 902, and so on. So you can get all the numbers from the second, third, fourth number in this array. The same is the small number. Small gives you the minimum, the second smallest number, which is gonna be 27, and you can put 3, 4, whatever. So we are going to use the combinations of these functions with the Vlookup function, which we discussed before in this series. So you can go and check this video in the playlist if you are interested. So what we're going to do is to add a column here, and in this column I would put random number, just the rand, not rand between. So in this rand I would put this number here. So as what happened here, they are not arranged. You have small, then smaller, then big, then smaller, then whatever. So the way we are gonna do the setting of the teams is by choosing the for the first game the two largest random numbers. So I have, let's say, the largest random numbers is the Watford, and I'd say Norwich City, whatever. I'm not sure, but they seem to be the two maximum values. So I would tell Excel to pick these two values, or the two teams, to play the first game, and I would take the third and fourth largest numbers, and the corresponding teams to them would play the second game, and so on. And the way I'm gonna do this is first by using the large, or you can do it the small, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I would, but keep in mind here that this would need to put the F4, because you want to drag this same function, and I would put the K as this number. I'm keeping this serial number to make sure that or because I'm gonna use it, because I wanna drag the function, so it's gonna save a lot of time. And this is what I get. So I have here kind of, I'm almost arranging the cells, but without changing the sequence here. And now what I just want to do is to use the Vlookup and use this array and F4, and I'm sorry, the lookup value is this, and then the table is this. I wanna use the column index number 3 and false to make sure that I'm not getting any approximate match. It's false, AL. And this is what I'm getting here. So what you see here is the same teams here. They are arranged here alphabetically, but here you have a random distribution of the teams, and this random distribution is based on the random numbers here. And every time you do any change to the file, you can see that the teams are changing, and this way you would never see any repetition of a team. So all the teams here are the 20 teams. No team is repeated or playing two matches. So what you can do is simply go add one column here, and then you can merge the cells and game 1, and then go ahead and repeat that. Do some kind of formatting things. Let's say I would make this blue, and I would make this I'm just trying to make it look nicer, so you kind of understand what we did here. So this is the final output. You have these games that are gonna be played. Again, no repetition of the teams was done. One more thing we can do to save some time, and this is kind of one nice thing I like you to keep in mind while you're working. You can save some space actually while you're doing this. You are putting here the D1, which is another function, so you can take this and put it instead of D1, and this way I'm gonna paste them as functions to keep the format, and this way I don't need this column. And what you see here is that I already merged two functions, or put a function inside another function. And I personally do not recommend doing this directly from the first time. What I like to do is to do it as I did, put it in separate cells, and then group them in one function that has everything. Because sometimes you're not familiar well with what you're doing, you're kind of trying, and in this case you will very probably get some errors. And if you're not very familiar with these functions, these errors would be very difficult for you to tackle or to troubleshoot, and you would end up doing what I did before. So this is kind of a nice way to do this. So once you're done with this, you can kind of copy these and then go here, paste them as values, and this is the final thing that you got. So it's and you can of course paste them as oops. Anyways, it's not a big deal. You can paste the formats or using the format brush, whatever. I did this one other case. I'm done with it, but I have here the set of students or employees, whatever, and these employees are required to work in teams. So you make 8 teams out of these 40 employees, and each team will be consisting of 5 members. And this is what I did here. It's exactly the same. I use the randomized here. This is the random numbers, and use the large function, the same thing. And again, if you change this, it will change everything. And of course, you can use the VLOOKUP to add any more information from the original table. So you can use the VLOOKUP to get the age with the student name. So once the name changes, the age changes with it as well. So it's kind of a nice thing to do, and it's nice to learn about these new functions. I mean, the large and small functions. I think the rand and randbetween are kind of famous functions, but these are the large and small were kind of new to me. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video, inshallah. Goodbye.